Hey everybody, so I wanted to make this short video just showing off some of the custom Gamecube controllers that I've been building recently. This is sort of like the latest thing I've been spending all of my time and money on, but I think it's been pretty fun. I have some cool looking controllers, so I just kind of wanted to go over like where I sourced all the things, sort of like what the journey's been like. Yeah, just sort of a fun overview. This will be in not any particular order because some of these controllers I started on one, then I shifted to another, went back and everything. So some of them have kind of been a work in progress and some of them have been kind of constantly changing. Like for example, this controller, I've switched out like a lot of the buttons, a lot of the time, the paracord, front shell. Anyway, without further ado, I guess I'll start off with this one. This is a very simple looking controller. As you can tell, it's still just a Smash Ultimate shell. It's probably the least exciting shell of the bunch. You can still find the Smash Ultimate ones. They're not too hard to come across and they're not too expensive on their own. But the shell and the board from this controller was one of the first ones that I have gotten because I just bought it like directly paracorded. No mods or anything special with it. It was just a controller and this paracord already installed. So at the time that I got this, I didn't have a soldering iron or anything with me, so, I wanted to dip my toes into the whole custom GameCube controller thing, but without a, soldering iron, it's hard to do the paracording. So I got this from Throwback Gaming on eBay. So he, sold just Smash Ultimate controllers with paracord installed, but, the paracord is great. Really enjoy the work on it. And in fact, this controller as well was also the same thing, so that's why it's got a black plug. It was originally a Smash Ultimate controller as well. But anyway, this one, so the buttons that I have here, the ABXY, D-pad, start, and Z button were all from a set from Defunk. The L and R buttons are also from him, but they're a different set. That's why they kind of look a little bit different. I might want to come back to these if he ever sells like clear blue ones again. I think that might look a little bit nicer, but overall, I'm pretty happy with this one. It's a very simple, not too crazy controller, but that's kind of what I like about it. It's simple. I guess next I'm gonna go into the clear shell controllers. So like I said, this is the same, paracord pre-installed board from before, but the shell and the buttons have been changed. The buttons are from Defunk as well. Yeah, all the button sets here are from Defunk. The paracords are from a bunch of different places. And this clear shell, as well as this clear shell, is from Cubimo on Twitter. So this is like a Baja Blast one. I think it turned out really nicely, especially with these sort of like pink galaxy buttons. This controller, it's a blue clear shell. It's kind of got this like gradient thing on top with like this back part being more blue and then more clear. But another clear shell, and then this is like a clear set of OEM style buttons from Defunk. This is actually the first button set that I ordered, and then I was like, wow, these are really cool, I should buy more, and then I bought a bunch more. This board is also a Smash Ultimate controller, although I did actually change out the paracord because by this point I did have a soldering iron, and then this cord is from Frame Perfect controllers. It was like a commission. And what's cool about that is you can choose a custom like resin plug color. So I chose this clear blue, which I like, I feel like it fits with the vision of the clear blue controller. I like how it's sort of like, an OEM style. I guess next I'm gonna switch to this controller. This one's actually an interesting one. So it is a emerald shell and it has the same button set as this controller here. I really liked it here. And then I was like, okay, I think this would look beautiful with, an emerald shell. This is like my favorite color shell. I really, really like this shell, so I had to get it. And this one is also special because it's actually a fob. I don't really play competitive Smash Bros, but I was like, well, if I'm gonna go this deep into the custom GameCube controller thing, I might as well try them out. And the sticks feel amazing. I got a drop-in board from Gossery on Etsy. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. This paracord is also from him, and it's like a cotton candy color. So I think this one, this is probably my favorite one. I think it pairs really beautifully, and it's often the one that I tend to use these days. And then last but certainly not least, we have this controller. So this is another emerald controller. Well, the top is emerald. The bottom is actually a resin blue clear shell from Defunk. These ABXY, LR, Z buttons are also from Defunk. And then just the normal default start, analog stick, and D-pad. The paracord is from Placebo controllers on Etsy. So my fourth source of paracording. This one I always keep coming back to. At one point I had like a painted top shell. I swapped out the button sets a couple of times, but I'm pretty happy with what it's at right now, and I'll probably keep it this way. And then as a fun bonus, I want to go over a couple other ones. These controllers aren't as exciting or nice, in my opinion. These are both just like T2 boards. They're kind of like spare parts controllers. So this one right here, it's like a Smash Ultimate shell, as you can see. And it's actually using the T2 board from the like cotton candy controller, and then it's using the shell from one of the clear controllers. A bunch of just extra parts, and then these are like some just like whatever buttons. But the special thing about this controller, and this one as well, is I actually did the paracording for it myself. So after trying out like a bunch of different paracords from a bunch of different people, like all of them are great, but I was like, well, why don't I just like try and learn how to do it myself? So I've done it 4 times successfully and 1 time not successfully, but it's been really fun. And I really enjoy doing it. So yeah, this is also another spare parts controller. It's also just a T2 motherboard. These are like eBay sticks, like the really old ones that I got probably like 10 years ago. And the darker ones were from the Extreme Rate controller that I showed off in my last video. These are just some of the paracords that I made. These 2 were from like Smash Ultimate ones. I had a 3rd Smash Ultimate one that I ruined. And then these 2 are like the shorter cables. Hopefully, as I start to get a little bit better at paracording, I might make a video on how to paracord and like my method of it. But I have a bunch of, you know, extra parts. I still have extra paracords here, and then I have extra button sets and some extra controllers. So I may continue on the journey of doing more custom GameCube controllers, but I just wanted to give a short overview of the controllers I have today and my journey. So yeah, thank you all for watching.